Hi, my name is Nancy Howe. I'm a UT Master Gardener, and I'm at James Agee Park, one of our core projects for Master Gardeners. We have a large number of plants here and things that we've planted, things that were here before we started working on the place, and it's just a very interesting park, very small, but lots of diversity in the plant life here. This park is a city park named for James Agee, who was a Pulitzer Prize winning author from Knoxville, who lived nearby, about 2 blocks away. His house is no longer here, but the park has some of his favorite plants, and his sister came for the dedication, and so we have a connection with James Agee, who's a local Fort Sanders resident and deceased now, but very well-known author. So we hope you enjoy coming to the park. It's located at James Agee Street and Laurel Avenue in Fort Sanders, and thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Dan Steinhoff. I'm a Master Gardener, and we're going to look at Kousa Dogwood and decide how we could prune this small tree and improve the way it will look in the future. So we're thinking more in terms of not how it looks today, but how it will mature and will the branches be in a sturdy position. So that's our biggest consideration. These are young trees, and this is really the first pruning effort. So it'll be a light prune. One thing about the Kousa is that it extends the bloom period of the dogwoods. So when the Floridia dogwoods are blooming, and those are the ones that are planted all over Knoxville, the Kousas will bloom just after that. So it extends your bloom period. Kind of a neat tree. Some people will say they don't plant these because it doesn't do anything for the wildlife. Something eats these berries, and I'm not sure what it is, but I've seen that my berries disappear on the end of the tree after the blossoms. So maybe it is good for the wildlife, who knows? But it is certainly good for beauty. So let's take a look at the tree, and one thing that we're seeing are some branches that really are bending in not really very nice ways. And this one right here in particular, we're going to take this one out. The angle is not good with the trunk, and we've pretty well decided that this center part will be our leader. And we want to be very careful that we don't top the end of this one. We want to be able to let the atypical dominance prevail on this one and continue growth upward. Got a nice spot here. There's a hole in the canopy, so it does get some sunlight. So let's go ahead and we'll take this branch off. Because it's fairly large, we're going to take it off in 2 pieces. So we'll cut down on the bottom. And the reason for doing that is so that we don't tear the trunk. We want to try to minimize any of the damage that we may have as we go ahead with the pruning. So we have taken the weight off. The next thing to think about is let's look at where this scar is. And when we cut, we want to be able to cut so that the tree will heal itself quickly. And if we get into this collar, then it takes a longer period of time for this tree to heal. So we don't want to get into the collar. We want to come out just a little bit beyond that. And there we are with a nice clean cut. We didn't tear the bark, and this should heal relatively quickly. By quickly, I had a gentleman tell me that every time that he takes a stroke with the saw, it takes a year to cover that up. So probably take 3 or 4 years before this actually heals. But we'll be able to see that in the next year, in the next growth. We've got another branch that was growing out. You can see how it came out and then comes down and eventually comes out. This will develop as a weak branch, and the possibilities of the breaking off here are pretty high. So we're going to go ahead and take this one off as well. There's another one here that looks like it's been injured, and we'll take it off. And then we'll take a break and look at the tree and see what else we can do to improve its appearance. So we'll do the same as we did with that other one. We'll make 2 cuts because it's fairly heavy, and we don't want to tear the bark on the trunk of the leader. We want to take care and cut this so we don't get into the collar. And there we go. Another pretty clean cut. We have another branch here that has been broken, and we will take that off simply because it was broken. We can probably cut that. It's short. You just cut it off in one piece. And there we go. So now it may be time just to take a deep breath. And what else should we do? We can do a reducing cut and probably cut right in here, about this high. And what that will do is basically stunt this branch. It will allow the trunk to continue increasing in diameter because we've got this foliage to feed this area. That's another consideration. We want to keep the tree healthy. We want it to continue to grow. Aesthetics aren't everything. It's the growth of the tree is really most important. So as we look at this one, we'll do a reduction cut and just cut up above where all of these branches are coming out. So let's take a look and see what that does and how does it improve the appearance. So we're smaller diameter. We're careful not to crush anything in addition to it. And what do we think? I think that looks pretty good. We may want to take this one off. We're looking at growth as it grows onto the interior of the tree. We want to be able to develop really good aeration for that area so that we don't get fungus to develop. So we're going to go ahead and just take this small branch off and this small one here. This one is kind of a double coming out of the same area, so we'll take it out almost like a water sprout. These smaller branches are fine. They're providing food for the tree, and I think that would be about all we would do to this one.